Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of In Retrospect. I'm Brandon Forbes.
Jason Burks.
Josh Franks.
In today's kind of pilot episode, I figure we should just talk about kind of the history of Retrospec and then kind of hit the topic of just filmmaking in Oklahoma in general. I feel like we all probably can speak to that a little bit. Figure we would start with Jason and just how this company kind of came to be.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, I can give the generic answer first. But I think what's most important, I think, for someone who's interested in knowing about Retrospec, that's awesome. But I think beyond that, it definitely is a conversation about people that care about telling stories and how can they go about doing that, which I can easily use an example of Retrospec. But this company, it's an interesting history. I'm 36 now. I think I'm still 36. I'm not sure.
You get to that age and you're like, I don't even know how old I am anymore.
It's an ambiguous age. It's so insignificant that I can get it wrong and no one cares. I'm 38. I'm 39, whatever. No, this company, I was 16, maybe 15. Well, I'll take it all the way back. I was 14. I started using Photoshop and Dreamweaver and stuff like that. And I loved sitting around on computers. And so I did that in school. And then a buddy of mine, Sam Presley, who had a mission organization, he was like, you should learn how to do video editing because it's really expensive and it'd be great if you could do it. And maybe, you could help us with our mission videos. And I was like, oh, sure, I'm willing to do anything. So anyways, they had purchased a version of Final Cut Pro Beta 1.0.
That's taking it back.
Yeah, it's taking it way back. And I remember it was so funny because I remember capturing video in those days. I mean, it was a different thing back then. You shot, and digital just came out, the VX1000 Sony, and it shot digital on the mini DV tapes, and you still had to capture it in real time. So you'd hook the camera up, and you'd trigger all the right buttons, and you'd hit play, and it'd record it, and it would capture the whole thing. But it was digital, and so you could non-linear edit. And I remember getting those stupid books at Barnes & Noble. And I lived at Barnes & Noble. And it was like video editing for dummies.
Oh, yeah.
It was like everything that I could come up with to try to understand. I remember struggling, and I was like, I'm going to read this whole book. And I was like 15. And I had a little bit of success here and there. I think it was when I was 16 finally that they were like, hey, we got this VX1000. Why don't you shoot stuff? And I was like, that'd be great because I'm trying to edit the stuff everyone else is shooting and it sucks. And this is very difficult for me. And so it was a crazy time. That next year I got really interested in it. I will say I was never one of those kids that was like, I'm going to be a movie maker someday. I can't quote movies all day like a lot of people can. But I've always been a hard worker, and I've always, it's like, I always joke around. I'm like, well, if I wasn't in filmmaking, I'd probably just cut down trees for a living or, build fences or something. But, I could work for a moving company. But I think a lot of that willingness to just do a tremendous amount of labor has translated well for me in filmmaking because that's kind of actually all it is. So if you're out there and you think it's a really easy job, it's not. It's really
just
hard.
Glorified movers.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Or like Frank's, you just get paid to sit.
That's what I do.
Every day.
I mean, I know exactly what I'm getting into every single day when I walk in the door.
I'm going to sit here.
Yeah.
I'm going to get paid. I'm going to go home.
I'm going to go home.
Type. No. So anyways, somewhere back in there, I remember I was doing I had showed a video that I'd made when I was 16, and somebody that was there said, hey, can you make any commercials? And I was like, how long? And they were like 30 seconds. So I was like, oh, well, these videos are all 10 minutes long. 30 seconds? That sounds easy. And so anyways, I remember when I was somewhere, I think I was 16, I made my first commercial for TV, and I like really overdid everything. And I think I got paid maybe like $400. I probably spent like 2 weeks on it. And I was it was like, this is so much money, when you're 16, it's like $400 is a ton. I mean, it was like my whole car payment for my car that I got. But anyways, to kind of accelerate forward, because I could tell this story for hours. I think I got really passionate about a lot of my first projects. And I think it was interesting because being from a mission video background where it's all about like emotion and conveying a story and trying to get the audience to feel like they're in Africa or Peru or wherever, you have to employ everything that your brain will give you and everything that your heart will give you. And the music becomes so important. And I remember it's really funny, but I kid you not, this was when that like Lifehouse.
Oh no.
This is when Lifehouse's first album came out. And I remember, and it wasn't the
You and Me song.
It wasn't that.
Dare you to move.
Well, yeah, that was so. So I think the first year I was making videos that somehow Lifehouse ended up underneath about 75% of them.
Yeah.
So I remember making a manufacturing video for a sticker company that had not that song. Gosh, it was their. What was their number one popular song?
Well, that was Switchfoot.
That was Switchfoot. Yeah.
Everything.
Just before changing, starving for truth. Yep. I didn't want to sing in our first.
I think you should
video.
get
I think that's you and me. I think that's you and me.
Is it you and me? How's the chorus go?
It's you and me and all of the people.
No, it's not that song. Well, anyways, we're totally derailing at this point.
People wanted to hear us sing.
Yeah, they wanted to hear that. I'm not really a singer unless I'm in the shower. No one's in the house.
You're not too bad.
But anyways, I love the idea that you could tell a story. I mean, who doesn't love a good story? And somewhere in there, I wanted to be a marine biologist as a kid. I don't know why. Probably, yeah, everybody did. I didn't have a choice. I was 8 years old. That's an obligation. I had every shark memorized. I can still tell you 35 plus sharks right here, right now. I'm not.
That's 34 sharks, more than I could tell you.
See the great white? That's only one of them.
That's all I know.
Yeah. So, lemon shark, nurse shark, thresher, mako. All right, I'm done. But anyways, I thought, maybe making videos is a way I can make money. At that point in my life, my parents were divorced. My mom had to go back to work. My sister was at Tulsa Tech, I believe. It's not like, I didn't have any reason to believe I would be successful at anything, really. I just was like, okay, how can I make my car payment? That's kind of like where things centered around. And I remember just picking up little projects. And I remember my senior year in high school, I was able to make about $800 a month, which to me was like a huge win. Like I was like, I'm making $800 a month. I'm doing random things. I'm probably making like half a minimum wage, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And I remember my first job, I'd worked through this time period of trying to only do filmmaking. I did some database entry. I worked at TS Tex-Mex as a host.
I always forget that. I can just imagine. Welcome to Tia's.
Yeah, I delivered tortillas to people's tables.
Carne or pollo.
I remember every now and then, like my friends' parents would come in and they would tip me, and they're like, "I know we're supposed to tip the server, but we wanted to tip you since you're." I was like, "Oh, thanks." Just stick that $5 in my pocket. But anyways, it was just interesting times. Things accelerated very quickly when I was 18. I had this idea to make a real estate show, and I just happened to have enough of the right meetings. And all of a sudden, it was like, can I make $1,000 a month to like, you're going to make $5,000 or $6,000 a month every month for a while. And now it's like, oh, I got work that I have to do. And luckily I was game for it. And I hired my first employee somewhere in there. I think I'm 17 or 18. And just started going for it. And I think that since then, certainly, the company's come a long ways. That was almost 20 years ago, which is wild because I still look the same, still young. People think I'm 18 quite often. But.
Oh, yeah. We hear it all the time.
All the time. Yeah, I colored this. This is not this color anymore. But over the years, it's been pretty awesome just, just being willing to work really hard. Having a strong desire to bring people together. It's kind of funny, like, Frank's probably has lots of good stories of over the time. But me and Frank's became roommates when I was 20. And so, he was in college and different things like that and worked at different places while I was, off trying to do what I was doing. And you even shadowed me. You probably remember when I was like 18 or something.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really know you, but you shadowed me, and it was like but you'd always wanted to be in filmmaking. And I was still trying to figure out just how to get people to give me checks when I was finished with jobs.
Still trying to figure that out.
Still trying to figure that out. But yeah, so that kind of, maybe brings us up, I mean, it's interesting because the Retrospec in a quick, like, little summary, it's, it has been just a desire to create things that are great, desire to achieve emotion and really tell stories. And simultaneously a desire to bring people together as a team. Because for me, there's a lot of people that want to do film, but they don't desire to like build a team. And that's fine. I mean, quite frankly, as a freelance person, I mean, like I freelance DP and direct with lots of other people out there, and they just hire me on set. And that's totally fine too. But I think I had this strong desire to build a team of people that I liked working with, that all had a singular passion and pursuit and vision for creating great things, and were willing to work really hard to do it. And so that's like the other half of me that's not the director or the writer. It's the part of me that says, how can I assemble the right people? How can I grow people? How can I encourage people? And really, I guess that's what has made Retrospec, an over 20 employee company versus just like Jason over here making a fitness video at the farm center when he's 16 years old. I remember that project. Oh, yeah. It was a good one. I mean, I think I went and shot like 8 times because I couldn't get the right shots. And they were probably like, this poor kid, we paid him $200 and he's been working full time for like a month for us. But yeah, so that gives you some history.
So go ahead, Frank.
I was going to say, I think what stood out to me the most that you said is filmmaking is a lot of hard work. I don't think people really realize how hard it is to be a filmmaker. And I say be a filmmaker, make commercials, make videos, whatever industry you may be in, or whatever it may be for, but it requires a lot of attention to detail, a lot of people in most cases. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made. And then there's a shooting process, and there's a whole nother process on the post-production where it could fall apart if you don't have the right people in place. And, as we've progressed and grown here, it's crazy because just used to, like 7 years ago, there was about 7 of us. And then it got to the point where it's like, man, we have to really start bringing some people on. And then Brandon, you came along. And I would say with your first week here, you were on a mountain with us in Colorado, climbing the
Wetterhorn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was probably the same week that you started.
It was. My first day was the day that it was August 1st of 2014.
Rite of passage.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like...
It's a good thing we don't have that now.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'd have that many employees.
He probably looked about 12 years old at the time.
Yeah.
Now I only look like I'm 16.
Yeah. Now you're 16, and I think you went from being a boy to a man that weekend.
I would have to agree with you.
That was when you probably matured about 10 years in a matter of 48 hours, as we all did.
Yeah. Were you married then?
Yeah.
Oh, so was Kristen like... He definitely picked the wrong job.
She was definitely confused, and and we had worked together when we got married, so we had seen each other every day. So that was like, it was gone like a week, and that was the first time. And she was like, "Well, I don't know if I like this, but
we're gonna test some cameras. Let's go to the Wetterhorn. It's gonna be a scramble. It's not that big a deal."
But that's kind of one of the cool things, like owning your own company and having people who are passionate about just filmmaking in general. Is like, we can do stuff like that, and we've been doing stuff like that, and we will continue to do stuff like that. I mean, countless trips are just like, hey, we got a new toy, let's go test it out. Like, you can't do that as a freelance. I've a ton of friends, and I grew up in California, so I kind of was next to that, and I have a lot of friends that are like, oh, I love freelance, but I miss working with a team. It's like, well, yeah, I would take working with a team over trying to go and do my own thing any day.
Yeah. I think speaking to the whole flexibility to just do what you want, I think that's quite frankly, that's probably why most people want to have their own business. And it's why I've wanted to have my own business, but not because I want to like stay at home and like eat Cheetos and watch cartoons. It's because I want to create things that are great no matter what the circumstances are. And I've really tried to give that or create that culture here at Retrospec to be like, and I mean, I know you guys know that, but I think it's really benefited a lot of our clients because it's not a question of like, well, what are they paying us or how much time do we have or things like that. It's how do we make this great? How do we make it great? I think about that crazy project that we shot with Summit Financial in Utah on the Castleton Tower. And like nobody on planet Earth would have ever touched that project for even like 3 times the budget that we had. But like for us, it's like, we can do this. We have the gear, we have the people, we have vehicles, we can drive. I know how to rock climb. I got some buddies who can help us out. And we just pull stuff off. And I think that constant spirit of we're going to create stuff that's great no matter what. We're going to do it if you're paying us. We're going to do it if you're not paying us. We're going to do it for you. And if you don't want us to, then we're going to do it for someone else for fun. And to me, I think that mentality, if there's anything that I think really has always driven me to want to have a team and to want to have a company, is so that I can position us in that fashion, so that I'm able to say, when time runs out and it's like, okay, well, there's no more budget and we need to do all these other things, I can say, that's okay. Let's just keep going. When 10 hours hits and we're not done filming, whereas on every freelance shoot I've ever been a part of, they're like, all right, we're in overtime now and the client's paying $1,800 an hour and you got 15 minutes. And, I can say, forget about that. You know what? I can inconvenience myself and I work with a team that is willing and ready to keep creating to make things great. And it's funny because I feel like that's so vital in filmmaking, but it's so rare because there's very few environments that are more like staunchy and difficult. Like it's like funny every time I freelance direct, and I'm working with producers and line producers and different people that are freelance, they're always like, okay, you can't do that. Nope, you can't do that, Jason. Nope, you can't do that. Nope, you're not allowed to do that. No, we can't use that location. No, we can't do that. Oh, we can't cast them. And I'm just like, but all those things I just said are what would make this project great. And they're like, well, sorry, budget doesn't allow, or we don't have enough time, or they're in a union. And it's like, okay, cool. I'll just do whatever you want. But in my mind, I know I can't wait to get back to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma to do whatever I want to do when it comes to creative greatness,
So because you just brought up Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, I mean, that's where you've literally spent your entire life growing up and basing this company. Do you think, was that strategic?
No, it was accident. No, I mean, like I said, I've never tried to be cool. Going to LA was never even an option. Never even thought about it. And people always ask me, like, when are you moving to LA? I'm like, I don't know. Why would I move to LA? I mean, I grew up in Broken Arrow. I moved to Tulsa, and that felt like a pretty long ways away.
Right.
But no, I mean, I went to Broken Arrow High School. I mean, I was born in Mexico, but that's not my fault. But yeah, I've been in Broken Arrow since I was, a little kid. And my first house is like 3 miles from my mom's house, and the studio is right here in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. And it's been pretty cool because, I mean, there's really no other companies like ours in Oklahoma, really hardly any in the U.S. that are uniquely like us. And yeah, we're in Broken Arrow. It's definitely not Los Angeles or Chicago or New York But
that's what planes are for.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing is you guys, I'm on the post side, you guys are obviously on the production side, but I don't see you half the time. And it's mainly because you guys are really all over the place filming in West Coast or the East Coast. We went to Liechtenstein once. It was crazy for 48 hours, twice.
In like 2 months.
Literally, Jason and I flew to Liechtenstein for 2 days, or like 36 hours. I mean, our plane trip was longer than the time we actually were in Liechtenstein.
Yeah, we got some good stuff done though.
We did. The food was terrible. Can I just say that, for us to find food there, I think we ended up driving for an hour and a half to eat at a gas station.
Yeah,
spaghetti. Gas station spaghetti.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah. And we didn't go to sleep.
We didn't go to sleep, and the waitress was really rude to us.
You're still upset about that.
I was so upset because I was starving. I mean, we had sat on that airplane for 12 hours, just uncomfortable. There's people hacking in the front. There's babies, I'm sure. It was awful. But we got there, and it was pretty cool. Liechtenstein is a glorious scenery.
It's like this little utopia.
Oh, my gosh. The Swiss Alps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know why they make knives there now.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Well, I think we can probably kind of wrap it up maybe and just kind of talk about, Franks, maybe you can kind of hit on, why choose to stay in Oklahoma with a company that does film, like you said, we talk about, you can do it anywhere, but why Oklahoma?
I think that's a unique question based upon who you are, to be honest. We were lucky enough to know someone, in this case, that has something established that we helped, up to this point, kind of help grow and build up to where it is now. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. There's some people that really don't have those relationships, and they do have to make that move. But I think here in Oklahoma specifically, for us, we just happen to know somebody, work hard, and then really just do what is necessary to be successful in this environment. And that's pretty much what's kept me here. I have no reason to leave. My wife is here. My kids are here. My in-laws are here. I'm happy, and I'm doing exactly what I want to do. And there's no reason for myself I'm sure you guys can speak for yourselves, for us to leave, because everything that we've always thought about.
I just put a 2-week notice in, but
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, this is the last episode of the podcast.
the bank said I'm not allowed to. So
Yeah. So yeah, I feel very blessed, and I think for all the people out there that are trying to pursue film, find those companies that are doing it and reach out to them and work hard enough and put the effort in to put yourself in a position to be in a room with them in general. And we've brought on a lot of people with a little experience that have grown to be really solid employees.
But they've had a great attitude the whole time.
Exactly. So for me, I don't have any plans on going anywhere else. I don't know about you guys, but I feel pretty good here in Broken Arrow.
This is, I grew up in California. My dad worked for Jim Henson, so I kind of grew up on movie sets like George of the Jungle, Lost in Space, all of those. Like I remember like being there and seeing it and was like, this is awesome. Like this is what I want to do. And then when my parents moved out here about 10 years ago, I was like, there's no way I can't do that in Oklahoma. I have to stay here. And then just ended up through a series of circumstances, ended up in Oklahoma. And within like a couple of weeks, I heard of this place called Retrospec. I was like, they're doing this in Oklahoma? And it's like, yeah, you can do this here. And you can do it almost, I would say, better than you can in some other places due to, there's tax incentives and things like that, but just like the cost of living and everything, it's like, why would you not want to do it in Oklahoma at this point? Like that, I can't imagine doing it anywhere else. And maybe that's just because of, obviously I have family here and now friends and this company that I'm passionate and work for and see a long-term with, but it's like, I'm not going anywhere. Oklahoma's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, just kind of following what you were saying in conclusion, but I feel like Oklahoma really does have a lot of unique advantages. And certainly it may be as true to just entrepreneurship, small business, all the different factors. It's a unique market. And I think Oklahoma has a lot of opportunity and so much to offer. And, people always make this comment to me, but they're like, oh, you like being a big fish in a small pond. And it's like, sure, I guess so. Whatever. I just like the opportunity that the things we create get seen. And I think that we have been able to create a platform here. But it's been pretty cool that our stuff is seen all over the world. It's pretty cool that a lot of the stuff we're doing, we're being chosen by LA companies to use us instead of the LA company that's down the street from them. And I think it really comes back to the dedication and the passion of a unified team that's super talented and works really hard, like you said. That's really, that is what fuels film production, is hard work and ideas, and being able to have a unified team to constantly have hard work and structure and good ideas always going, Monday through Friday. That's what has made this company successful. It's certainly not just been me or been Oklahoma. It's just been a lot of hard work, a lot of good people. And I think we have a lot of good people in Oklahoma. So it's been awesome.
Agreed.
So you wrap this thing up.
Awesome.
All right. Is there like an official closing way that we close this?
Let's do one of those asthma like sips.
ASMR.
ASMR. Let's try it. Yeah, I feel like that does a pretty good job, don't you?
Cheers to that.
All right.
Burks doesn't want to cheer.